Hello, my name's Artemis, and I'm going to do something that I've never done ever in the history of ever, and that's talk about paws. I know this is quite a shock, completely out of left field, not something you would expect from me, but bear with me, we're going to get through this. So yes, a couple of weeks ago I did a video all about feet, and you can see that right there if you want. I don't think there's a link there anymore because I can't figure that out, but it's around this channel somewhere. But I thought it's only fair if I do one about feet paws as well, because I mean obviously this is the furry fandom and people generally are going to like paws better than they like feet, and I can talk about paws for goddamn ever, so screw it. Here's 10 reasons why paws are the goddamn best. Paws are everywhere. They are just about one of the most easily recognizable and iconic aesthetics and, symbols of the furry fandom, to the point where you really can't go anywhere without seeing them. And honestly, I think everybody has at least a small liking, inkling, interest in them. In a sense, it is the paws that are the glue of the furry fandom. It brings everybody together. Everybody knows them. Everybody recognizes them, to the point where they're even on the fucking flag designs that we have going around, okay? Those paw pads, those beans, that's what brings us all into this thing. Of course, I'm not just going to inflate their fucking importance as if they are the only important thing in the fandom. Of course not. But you have to admit, with the amount of everything that involves paws or paw pads or that simple little design, that beans are pretty goddamn universal to this fandom. The liking of paws can start at something just as simple as, oh, look at those cute little beans, and then end up at the sort of thing that makes me entirely terrified of the world and want to hide away everywhere I can. Ugh. That is to say that it is obviously very diverse. It can be incredibly safe for work and cute and adorable and soft and squishy, and it can also be incredibly not safe for work and lewd and adult and sexual and horny. Just like a lot of things in life, actually, but it seems to be very easy to determine with the paws which one a person stands on. Not standing on paws, that's a different thing. Actually, that's included. But yes, this is one of the very big reasons why paws are so goddamn great. It's because there's room for everybody. If you're going to come here and try and get your rocks off, then, well, you're in luck, because there's plenty of people who will share that and plenty of material to help you do that. But also, if you're going to come here just for an aesthetic appreciation, or you just think they're cute, then you're also going to find plenty of people and plenty of artwork and plenty of everything that's going to help you feel like you fit in, because you do. Paws are universal. Of course, there is a big division between paws and feet. They are quite similar and also quite separate to a lot of people, and some people will like both, like myself. I don't judge, I love both in equal measure, but also some people only like one and not the other, and in this fandom, it's more likely that they're just going to like paws and not like feet. Now, of course, paws are generally softer, cuter, plushier. They fit it more in line with the whole anthro vibe that we've got going on here. They're more animalistic, and, if you're designing a whole character, you're going to want to design the entire character. You're not just going to have like a full werewolf with just like size 8 normal feet. He wears Adidas trainers and that's it. Like, that's not really going to work. I mean, you can do that if you want, but generally people are going to want dem paws. No, it doesn't mean that you can't like feet and be a furry and can't like feet and paws. Obviously you can. It just means that liking one doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna like the other. And there's so many niche little interests in there. I mean, hell, some people, I can make the point here and say some people only like paws because they fit in well with fursuits. But then there's also people who like human feet on fursuits like this. And that's a little bit of a strange thing to look at. It hits the eye slightly wrong. Not as good as this, for instance, which definitely works out quite well. Don't ask how we took that picture with the feet. There was like fucking yoga pose or some shit, Jesus. But by and large, the general consensus is that paws are better to be seen in the furry fandom. Nobody really has an issue if they see paws in their timeline, but if they see bare feet, there's going to be an issue. Look at that tweet. That went around and did the mileage. And on the back of that, there's just so many interests that can also be intertwined with paws and involve paws and can work with paws. In fact, so many, that I think we should even talk about those simple, important ones that we all recognize, such as... And of course, you've got interests such as macro, where people like giant furries looming over them, maybe even destroying cities, kaiju, that sort of stuff. And obviously, paws are going to be a big part of that, especially when it's about to take you out. Apparently, people like that, especially when it comes to, the old stomp. And of course, we have tickling, because I mean that's easy to mix in with like furries anyway. But then paws, it's easy to mix in as well, because paws are so tickling. Okay, that's enough. I can't fucking talk. Oh God, I deserve a medal for keeping still for that. Jesus. But of course, tickles are a thing that you would include as well because it just sort of naturally fits in, especially when they're so soft and cute. Hey, I said enough! And of course, bondage. You know, bondage usually involves people even being naked, but also paws and whatnot can come into that, and that can also intertwine with tickling and other little interests that involve paws. But yeah, bondage can be a big part of it, like toe ties and shit. And no, I'm not going to demonstrate that one. We're not going to do a little segment on that, because that's a dangerous precedent to set, quite frankly. There is way more than just one flavour of foot paw in the furry fandom, and they are even split between like artwork and fursuits as well. I mean, you have a look at the artwork, they can range quite a bit. You've got the big sort of toony style that goes back to like the 90s style of paws, and you've got the big new toony style, which is all like almost inflated, shiny beans, lovely. You've got like plush, like actual plush, you know what I mean. Plush, you've got like the feral kinds, you've got the sort of hybrid kind, I almost think. Like they almost look like human feet, but they've got like paws and shit. Then you have like actual human feet that are just like furry coloured and maybe have claws. There's so much variety that, you know, you could have just even unique ones that artists have just made because that's their style. So much that you can get out of the artwork that just because you might not like that style doesn't mean you might not want the other one in your new piece or commission. Same can be said for fursuits as well. You have like big stompy paws, which I'm surprised anybody can really walk on, that are just gorgeous, massive giant beans. You've got people who like the metallic ones as well. You've got like the really cool raptor type feet as well. They can be quite badass. You've got the basic slimline as well. Big chunky plush beans, which are the best. And what's the other one? I fucking had it in my head there for a second. Sock paws, there we go. And like the really slim ones. There's so much that you could have, and so many different advantages and disadvantages to each type, that it's such a varied interest. Some people only like one type, some will like them all. I mean, damn, can you say that about many other things? You don't see that with a lot of other things. If there's two things in this fandom that are guaranteed to help you with exposure and getting yourself out there, it is paws and maws, with the former of the two being the safest bet in most cases. But it is such a safe bet that it almost feels like cheating sometimes, just thinking all I gotta do is whip out the beans and I've got someone's attention. I mean, hell, I'm doing it kind of right now, and I mean, we all know where your eyes are focused, obviously. It's pretty damn clear. I mean, that's very useful from a business standpoint. If you're trying to grow a following or get commissions or whatnot, then your character here pieces and whatnot are very easy to come by when it comes to paws because, hey, I've mentioned it, they're so diverse. But when it comes to things like fursuiting, it kind of feels a little bit weird if you haven't made the suit yourself. Like, it's odd that a lot of people will know me for my beans and my paws, but like I didn't make those. That all the credit and all the praise belongs to Furry Fursuit Maker, in all honesty, because they're the ones I commissioned. Which is why I sometimes sound a bit arrogant. People are like, oh my god, your paws are amazing, they look so cute. And I'm just like, yeah, I know, right? No, I mean, like, I'm passing the compliment on to them. It's not me that gets that praise. Of course, paws can also be a supremely comfortable thing as well, and hear me out, I think could actually be a sort of crossover with slippers. Talking mostly about fursuit paws here, but they can basically just be slippers, but like upgraded versions of. I mean, think about it, you've got like fluffy aesthetic to them, they're all soft and polyfill, they're super fucking comfortable to walk around in, and a lot of them like have fleece linings that are just so goddamn soft on your peats. Like, honestly, they are just big, squishy slippers that you get to walk around in everywhere at a con. Like, what's not to love about that? And hell, there could be some people that only have an interest in paws because they are obviously so goddamn comfortable. Like, you know, if you're going to be walking around and suiting at a convention, it might not be the most comfortable thing in the world, but at least you've got that soft squish underfoot every time, because you're just, I mean, look, so goddamn cozy and comfy. And off the back of that one, we have the whole issue of whether you like indoor paws or outdoor paws, style versus substance, comfort versus practicality. Now, of course, outdoor paws are probably going to be the go-to for most people getting a suit, because suiting is a very intense activity and you are going to be going outdoors and you're going to want that kind of protection. They're typically built on shoes, but they have that big piece of EVA foam on the bottom, and that's not the most aesthetically pleasing thing in the world. It's quite difficult to get that to merge quite nicely in a lot of photos. So maybe that is the proper sort of, hey, I need to do this for everything, like walking around outside. But, you know, this is why you have like the magnet soles for a lot of them, where you can swap out and get the beans on then. But then you have the indoor paws, which are just the perfection. They are basic, as I've said, basically slippers. Super plush, super comfy, and amazing for photos. I mean, just look at the amount I've taken, my God. But there is quite a difference between the two. And as much as, you know, I would love to just have indoor paws absolutely everywhere, you have the hassle of trying to keep them clean because fur cons, carpets and shit, not good. Look at Spyn, for God's sake, he can attest to that. So, you know, you end up wearing like sandals, but then, as I said, fursuiting, very big activity, very intense, and you're going to need that kind of support, you know, like in terms of like bone structure on your actual feet and ankles and knees and hips. It can be something that's really comfy and really cute, but then after 3 hours of walking around, you're just in pain. Of course, I'm just going to say it, indoor paws are still the best, and I don't care. I will swallow the pain just to look cute. But there is that whole kind of thing where you can just mix it up a little bit. Some of the outdoor paws look absolutely bitching, and you can have little workarounds like sneakers and shit that absolutely looks great on fursuit paws and really helps build a character as well. That's why you know, fursuit paws just, amazing. Biology plays second fiddle in terms of importance when it comes to paws, and that's just a fact. Us furries do love twisting biology to suit our own aesthetic and fantastical desires, and paws are no different from that, and you can obviously see it in quite a few things. So the biggest point I can make on this is the whole issue of rabbits and bunnies. Of course, rabbits and bunnies in a lot of artwork have the big beans and the big paws because they've got the big paws. But actually in real life, rabbits don't actually have beans. They're just like fur. That's basically it. So we kind of twisted things there, and for some reason, some purists were saying, oh, rabbits can't have beans because they don't in real life. I'm like, yeah, rabbits aren't also like 6 foot tall and talking in real life either, and you seem okay with that, champs? Shut up. But it's not just rabbits. I've seen there's a couple of like deer fursuiters and whatnot that will swap out the hoofs for beans, and honestly, I respect those life choices, and I totally agree. I mean, if you can have paws, have paws. Like, that's just a good lesson for life. That is just the best advice I could really give out. If paws are on the menu, order them. And finally, they are basically the most harmless interest in the fandom compared to a lot of other things. Like, a lot of other interests are inherently adult, inherently sexual, just based off the look of them and the general perception of them. But paws have managed to carve out this little position of being both safe for work and not safe for work at the same time. You know, you can scroll down your feed and see a lot of paws in artwork and a lot of stuff, and it doesn't have the same vibe as a lot of other not safe for work artwork. And the sheer amount of merchandise and iconography and, you know, that typical design of the paw pads that we include in so much means that they really have just carved themselves out as one of the staples of the furry fandom, one of the most recognizable, integral parts of our entire look. That's why I would say that it is the most accepted. Like, a lot of other things, people are going to get, no, but paws are just they're on such a level that a lot of people will just be like, oh, okay, cool. And you don't even notice half the time as well. It's a very cool place to be. I think that's why it's helped it spread so much as it has, and so many people share it, and that's why it's as widespread. And I'm in full support of that. I love it. I'm glad that we found something that is easily recognizable in our little fandom here. So there you have it. Those are 10 reasons why paws are awesome. Obviously, I can think of just way more than 10. I could talk about this for goddamn ever, but I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed a lot of the gratuitous paw shots that I must have edited into this. And yes, thank you for watching. Hope you appreciate the pain I'm in, because I'm filming this during a heat wave. Oh, I'm half dead. But then again, I usually am, so I'm probably more like 3/4 dead now. Again, thank you for watching. If you feel like you would like to support, there's the Patreon. And funnily enough, there's paw stuff on Patreon as well. God, maybe you should have a look. You know, have a look. Okay, let's just end it here before I just start getting on my knees and begging for money. Thank you.